What if I told you that the cheerful, gift-giving Santa Claus we know today has his roots in a fiery, miracle-working bishop from 4th century Asia Minor? That's right. Behind the rosy cheeks and red suit lies the incredible story of St. Nicholas, a man whose acts of kindness and fierce convictions turned him into a legend. Over centuries, his image transformed from a pious saint into a global symbol of Christmas, complete with flying reindeer and a workshop in the North Pole. But the real St. Nicholas's life was far more complex and dramatic. He wasn't just a figure of quiet charity, he was also a staunch defender of his faith, even rumored to have slapped a rival theologian at a historic church council. How did such a fiery figure become the jolly Santa Claus? And what can his story tell us about the power of folklore and tradition to evolve over time? Today on Armchair Archaeology, we're peeling back the layers of history to reveal how St. Nicholas's legacy became one of the most enduring and recognizable symbols in the world. From his miraculous deeds to his role in folklore, and even the influence of Coca-Cola, we'll uncover the fascinating journey of St. Nicholas. And stay tuned for that legendary slap. It's a story you won't want to miss. Before we dive in, are you subscribed to Armchair Archaeology? Over 90% of our viewers aren't. By subscribing, you'll join a growing community passionate about uncovering history's greatest mysteries. And don't miss our new ebook, Secrets of the Ancient World: Mysteries, Technologies, and Lost Civilizations. It's packed with incredible stories about lost cities, ancient technologies, and unsolved mysteries. If you're ready to explore the side of history that textbooks leave out, check the link in the pinned comment. The story of Santa Claus begins with a real historical figure, St. Nicholas of Myra, a 4th century bishop in what is now Turkey. Born around 270 CE into a wealthy Christian family, Nicholas's life took a dramatic turn when his parents died during a plague. Rather than using his inheritance for personal gain, he chose to devote himself to his faith, dedicating his wealth to helping those in need. One of the most famous stories about Nicholas involves his secret gift to 3 impoverished sisters with no dowries. They faced the grim prospect of being sold into servitude. Nicholas, moved by their plight, slipped through the night and tossed bags of gold into their home to save them from ruin. Legend has it the gold landed in their stockings, drying by the fire, an image that would inspire a beloved Christmas tradition centuries later. Nicholas's reputation as a protector of the vulnerable grew quickly. Sailors prayed to him for safe passage, and stories of his miraculous deeds spread throughout the region. Among these tales are accounts of him calming violent storms at sea, saving sailors from shipwrecks, and even resurrecting children who had been murdered and preserved in barrels by an evil innkeeper. These miracles earned him the nickname Wonder Worker, cementing his place in the hearts of early Christians. By the time of his death, around 343 CE, St. Nicholas had become a symbol of generosity and divine power. His feast day, December 6th, became a time for gift-giving and acts of charity. Yet as we'll see, his story was far from complete, evolving over the centuries into something truly extraordinary. After his death in the mid-4th century, St. Nicholas's fame didn't fade. It grew exponentially. His tomb in Myra became a renowned pilgrimage site, drawing people from across the Christian world. The faithful were drawn not only by his reputation for miraculous deeds, but also by a mysterious phenomenon associated with his relics. His tomb reportedly produced a liquid called manna, which believers claimed had healing powers. Pilgrims would travel great distances to witness this marvel and collect the sacred substance, adding to the growing legend of Nicholas as a divine intercessor. But the relics of St. Nicholas didn't remain in Myra. In 1087, with Myra under threat from Seljuk invaders, a group of merchants from Bari, Italy, launched a daring mission to rescue his remains. They transported the relics to Bari, where they were enshrined in a grand basilica built in his honor. This move turned Bari into one of the most important pilgrimage sites in Europe, further amplifying Nicholas's fame. To this day, the Basilica of St. Nicholas in Bari continues to draw pilgrims and curious visitors alike. The relocation of his relics also helped spread devotion to St. Nicholas across Europe. In Russia, he became one of the most revered saints, honored as a protector of the Orthodox Church. In Western Europe, his feast day inspired acts of charity and gift-giving, solidifying his image as a saint of generosity. What's remarkable is how St. Nicholas transcended geographic and cultural boundaries. Whether as a miracle worker, a patron saint, or a healer, his influence spread from the Mediterranean to the northernmost reaches of Europe. His growing legend was unstoppable, laying the foundation for the folklore and traditions that would eventually reshape him into the figure we know today. The relocation of Nicholas's relics is a fascinating reminder of how history often intertwines with legend. Stories like these help us understand the cultural forces that shape the past, something we explore in depth in our ebook, Secrets of the Ancient World, Mysteries, Technologies, and Lost Civilizations. If you're as intrigued by ancient mysteries as we are, you'll want to check it out. As devotion to St. Nicholas spread throughout Europe, his story began to intertwine with local traditions, giving rise to folklore that reshaped his image. By the Middle Ages, Nicholas was widely revered as the patron saint of sailors, merchants, and children. His feast day, December the 6th, became a day of celebration marked by acts of charity and the exchange of small gifts. In the Netherlands, St. Nicholas transformed into Sinterklaas, a beloved figure who traveled the countryside on a white horse, rewarding good children and punishing the naughty. Dutch children would leave shoes filled with hay or carrots for his horse, waking to find them filled with treats or coins. Sinterklaas wasn't always gentle, though. He was often accompanied by stern helpers like Zwarte Piet, who handled punishments for misbehaving children. In Germany and Alpine regions, Nicholas's legend took on an even darker tone. He was often paired with terrifying companions such as Krampus, a horned demon who punished naughty children, or Belsnickel, a fur-clad figure who carried a sack of coal or switches. These characters added an air of fear and morality to the celebration, reminding children that their behavior had consequences. By the Renaissance, St. Nicholas had become a cultural cornerstone of winter festivities across Europe. His story blended elements of kindness and judgment, embodying the dual role of benefactor and enforcer. These traditions didn't just shape the way he was celebrated, they laid the groundwork for his eventual transformation into Santa Claus. What's fascinating is how these regional variations reflect the values and fears of the societies that embraced him. Nicholas became more than just a saint. He became a figure who symbolized both the joys and the moral lessons of the season. What about you? Do you prefer the magical Santa Claus or the more traditional St. Nicholas? Share your thoughts in the comments. The transformation of St. Nicholas into Santa Claus began in earnest during the 17th century, when Dutch settlers carried their Sinterklaas traditions to the New World. In the bustling colony of New Amsterdam, later renamed New York, these immigrants celebrated December 6th with feasts, gift-giving, and stories of a saintly figure who rewarded good behavior and punished the naughty. But as Dutch culture merged with English traditions in the colonies, Sinterklaas began to evolve. By the 18th century, His name had been anglicized to Santa Claus, and the character was becoming less tied to religious observance. Writers and poets of the time reimagined him, blending folklore with their own creative ideas. One of the most influential figures in this transformation was Washington Irving. In his satirical work, Knickerbocker's History of New York, 1809, Irving depicted St. Nicholas as a cheerful, pipe-smoking figure who soared above rooftops in a flying wagon, delivering presents. Though written with humor, Irving's version of Nicholas sparked a wave of interest in the character. As the legend of Santa Claus grew, it began to reflect the values of a new and diverse nation. Nicholas shed his stern judgment and became a figure of generosity, community, and goodwill. Families adopted Santa Claus as a central figure in Christmas celebrations, associating him with joy and togetherness rather than morality and discipline. Interestingly, the transformation wasn't immediate. For much of the 19th century, Santa Claus coexisted with older traditions tied to St. Nicholas. Over time, however, the secular image of Santa took center stage, paving the way for the magical, modern figure we recognize today. The next major step in the evolution of Santa Claus came in 1823 with the publication of a simple yet transformative poem, Clement Clarke Moore's A Visit from St. Nicholas, better known today as "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." This poem not only redefined Santa's appearance, but also reshaped his entire personality, turning him into the magical, jolly figure we recognize today. Before Moore's poem, depictions of St. Nicholas or Santa Claus varied widely. Some showed him as a thin, austere bishop, while others leaned on folk traditions, portraying him as a stern judge of behavior. But Moore introduced a completely new vision. His Santa Claus was a right jolly old elf with a round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. He wore a fur-trimmed suit, drove a sleigh pulled by 8 tiny reindeer, and delivered toys to children by descending through their chimneys. This playful reimagining was a dramatic departure from the religious and moralistic origins of St. Nicholas. Instead of emphasizing judgment or piety, Moore's Santa was all about joy, magic, and inclusivity. His role as a bringer of gifts for all children, regardless of wealth or status, resonated deeply with Americans, aligning with the country's growing focus on family-centered holiday celebrations. Moore's poem also marked a turning point for Christmas itself. No longer solely a religious observance, the holiday began to embrace themes of warmth, generosity, and wonder. The popularity of A Visit from St. Nicholas was so profound that it solidified many of the traditions we associate with Santa Claus today, from his jolly demeanor to his reindeer companions. By the 19th century, Santa Claus had shed his saintly origins almost entirely, becoming a figure of pure merriment. And his transformation wasn't over yet. It's amazing how Clement Clarke Moore's poem reshaped Santa Claus into the figure we know today. This kind of transformation, where folklore and creativity reshape historical figures, is something we explore in our ebook, Secrets of the Ancient World. From ancient technologies to unsolved mysteries, it's packed with stories that show how history is never static. By the 20th century, Santa Claus was already a familiar figure in Western culture, but it was an advertising campaign by Coca-Cola in the 1930s that gave us the Santa we know and love today. The transformation began in 1931, when Coca-Cola commissioned artist Haddon Sundblom to create a series of holiday advertisements featuring Santa Claus. Drawing inspiration from Clement Clarke Moore's poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, Sundblom depicted Santa as a cheerful, larger-than-life figure with a round belly, twinkling eyes, and a hearty laugh. He was dressed in a bright red suit trimmed with white fur, an image so warm and inviting, it instantly captured the public's imagination. Although earlier illustrations, such as those by Thomas Nast in the 19th century, had already depicted Santa in red, Sundblom's artwork brought a new level of consistency and charisma to the character. His Santa wasn't just a gift giver, he radiated joy and friendliness, embodying the spirit of the holiday season. Coca-Cola's marketing campaigns featuring Sundblom's Santa were wildly successful, helping to associate Santa Claus with not only Christmas cheer, but also a sense of universal warmth and generosity. What's remarkable is how this version of Santa transcended the brand. Sundblom's portrayal became the definitive image of Santa Claus around the world, eclipsing older depictions tied to religious or regional traditions. This transformation shows how commercial art can shape culture. While Coca-Cola didn't invent Santa's red and white suit, they popularized it to such an extent that it became inseparable from his identity. Thanks to Sundblom, Santa Claus became a global icon, representing not just the joy of giving, but also the magic of Christmas itself. Want to uncover more stories of how history shapes our modern traditions? Hit subscribe and join us on the journey. While Santa Claus dominates much of the world's Christmas imagery, the original Saint Nicholas remains a beloved figure in many regions, celebrated with traditions that honor his saintly roots. These customs keep alive the memory of Nicholas as a protector of the vulnerable and a symbol of generosity. In Germany and Austria, December the 6th, known as Nikolaustag, St. Nicholas Day, is still a major holiday. On the night of December the 5th, children leave their freshly cleaned shoes by the door or fireplace, hoping to find them filled with small gifts like chocolates, oranges, or coins. However, the tradition retains its moral edge. Naughty children might wake up to find only coal or bundles of twigs, hearkening back to Nicholas's role as a judge of behavior. In Eastern Europe, Saint Nicholas is venerated as a religious figure. In Russia and Ukraine, he is honored as a protector of the Orthodox Church and a patron saint of children and the needy. Special church services and acts of charity mark his feast day, reflecting his role as a symbol of faith and kindness. Meanwhile, in Bari, Italy, where his relics are housed, Nicholas remains a focal point of devotion. Pilgrims visit the Basilica of St. Nicholas year-round, and his legacy is celebrated with annual festivals. In the Netherlands, the Sinterklaas tradition continues with great fanfare. Every November, Sinterklaas arrives by boat from Spain, kicking off weeks of festivities that culminate in children leaving out their shoes for treats. While the modern Dutch Christmas includes Santa Claus, Sinterklaas remains distinct, emphasizing his historical ties to Saint Nicholas. These traditions show how Saint Nicholas and Santa Claus coexist in many cultures, offering a fascinating blend of history, religion, and celebration. What's fascinating about these traditions is how they reflect the cultural values of each region. This interplay of history and local customs is central to understanding the evolution of myths, something we dive into in Secrets of the Ancient World. It's a must-read for anyone curious about how legends shape our world. By the 20th century, Santa Claus had transcended his European origins to become a global icon. His jolly image, shaped by American influences like Clement Clarke Moore's poem and Haddon Sundblom's Coca-Cola illustrations, made Santa an instantly recognizable figure. As the Christmas holiday gained worldwide popularity, so did Santa, who adapted to fit the customs and cultures of various countries. In Japan, where less than 1% of the population identifies as Christian, Santa Claus has been embraced as a cheerful symbol of festive spirit. Japanese Christmas focuses on spreading joy and togetherness, with Santa often appearing in malls and advertisements, blending seamlessly with local traditions. Similarly, in China and South Korea, Santa's presence in the holiday season reflects the influence of Western culture, but he's portrayed in a way that aligns with local values of family and celebration. In Brazil, Santa Claus, known as Papai Noel, has a unique twist. Instead of a fur-lined coat suited to the snowy North Pole, he often dons lighter attire to match the country's tropical December climate. Brazilians incorporate Santa into their vibrant holiday celebrations, which also feature traditional nativity scenes and family feasts. One of the most fascinating variations of Santa comes from Finland, where he is known as Joulupukki or Christmas goat. Rooted in pre-Christian folklore, Joulupukki was initially a frightening figure, but over time, he evolved into a Santa-like character who delivers gifts to children. What's remarkable about Santa Claus is his adaptability. He has become a global figure of generosity and joy. Yet in many countries, he coexists with local holiday traditions and even with the original Saint Nicholas. This duality reflects how cultures can embrace new symbols while preserving their own unique heritage. Does Santa Claus look different in your country? We'd love to hear how your traditions compare. Tell us in the comments below. As Santa Claus grew into a global phenomenon, the evolution of Saint Nicholas sparked debates about the balance between his religious origins and his modern secular identity. For many, the modern Santa represents the commercialization of Christmas, a figure tied to shopping malls, advertisements, and an emphasis on material gifts. Critics argue that this version of Santa has overshadowed the deeper meaning of the season and erased the saintly virtues of Saint Nicholas, whose legacy was built on acts of quiet generosity and faith. On the other hand, Santa's transformation is seen by others as a testament to his universal appeal. Unlike the saintly Nicholas, tied to specific religious traditions, Santa Claus embodies joy, generosity, and togetherness in a way that transcends cultural and spiritual boundaries. For millions, he has become a unifying symbol, bringing people of different beliefs together to celebrate kindness and giving during the holiday season. What's fascinating is how both figures, Saint Nicholas and Santa Claus, continue to coexist in many parts of the world. In regions like Eastern Europe, Saint Nicholas retains his religious significance, celebrated for his piety and miracles. Meanwhile, in places like the United States, Santa Claus dominates as a figure of festive cheer and secular celebration. This duality shows how traditions can evolve without losing their roots entirely. Ultimately, the debate over Saint Nicholas and Santa Claus highlights a broader question. How do we preserve history while embracing change? The answer lies in the enduring legacy of Nicholas, whose spirit of generosity lives on, whether through a saint's feast day or a sleigh-riding gift-bringer. Even with centuries of devotion and countless stories, Saint Nicholas remains a figure shrouded in mystery. Historical records from the 4th century are sparse, leaving many aspects of his life open to interpretation. Was Nicholas truly responsible for all the miracles attributed to him, or did his reputation grow as communities added their own legends to his story? One enduring enigma is the manna said to flow from his tomb. This mysterious liquid, believed to have healing properties, has been reported for centuries. Even today, the Basilica of St. Nicholas in Bari claims his relics continue to produce this miraculous substance. Modern scientists have studied the phenomenon, but no definitive explanation exists, adding to Nicholas's mystique as a figure of divine power. Equally fascinating is the way his image has evolved over time. In some cultures, Nicholas is remembered as a stern yet kind bishop performing acts of charity. In others, he appears in folklore as a more fantastical figure, complete with magical abilities and a moral edge. These varying interpretations highlight the adaptability of his legend, shaped by the values and needs of the societies that celebrate him. Yet, Nicholas wasn't just a symbol of miracles and kindness. Behind his saintly deeds lies a fiery side, one that occasionally clashed with the serene image many associate with him. In one extraordinary episode, Nicholas is said to have taken a bold and shocking stand during a pivotal moment in church history. This lesser-known chapter in his life offers a glimpse into the complexity of a figure who continues to inspire awe across generations. And now, it's time to reveal the fiery side of Saint Nicholas that might surprise you. According to legend, during the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE, a pivotal meeting of early Christian leaders, Nicholas was so enraged by the teachings of Arius, a theologian who denied the divinity of Christ, that he struck him across the face. The tale suggests a saint who wasn't just a figure of generosity and miracles, but also a man of fierce conviction, unafraid to defend his beliefs. While the story's historical accuracy is debated, it adds another layer of complexity to the man behind the myth. From a devoted bishop in 4th century Asia Minor to the jolly Santa Claus we know today, Saint Nicholas's story is a testament to the power of tradition and storytelling. His image has evolved over centuries, shaped by culture, commerce, and imagination, yet his spirit of generosity remains at the heart of it all. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of Saint Nicholas. If you found this exploration as fascinating as we did, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Armchair Archaeology. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. What part of Saint Nicholas's transformation surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the spirit of curiosity alive.